Good morning. All right. Hello, good morning. All right, good morning, everybody. All right, so just curious where people come in tuning in from. Is it snowing where you live? Yeah, I'm in Arizona. It's getting a little chilly, but it's not, no snow. San Antonio, hey, what's up? That's where I'm from, actually. All right, good morning, Shannon. Yeah, I'm originally from San Antonio. All right. Let's see, for today morning routine, I think we'll go through 5 exercises to that correlate with our 5 elements. All right. Yeah, so for this morning's warm-up, let's do 5 exercises that correspond to our 5 element system. So somewhat directly stimulating and invigorating certain organ systems. And so let's go in the direction of, we call it generating cycle. So meaning that one element generates the next, and then so on and so forth. So we can start with the spleen. So spleen is the earth element. And so we can just start with the gentle twisting of the waist, and allowing your arms to just swing freely. Right, so as our earth element and spleen relating to our digestion, right, we can see the gentle twisting movement through the waist and the upper abdomen. We have a nice twisting and gentle massaging across these upper digestive organs. All right, so it's a nice, easy one to start, kind of get going with. Right, we can increase the twist. But one thing that's also important as well is where your hands land. Because although we're gently twisting, massaging through the abdomen, and when your hands land on your body and strike on your ribs, ideally we should be landing in 2 acupuncture points that are very much related to the spleen and circulation of qi. One is the spleen back shoot point, and the other one is, in English we call it just spleen 21, the last point on the spleen channel, which is about 6 inches or so below your armpit here on your rib side. Both of these points, for ladies anyway, roughly are right on or below the bra line, which is a good reason why. If wearing a bra that's too tight and too constrictive can definitely apply pressure and cause constraint in this area. So make sure that any garments that we're wearing fit appropriately, that aren't overly restrictive. All right, so as we twist, allow the arms to swing freely. At the last moment, we just kind of allow them to snap. Right, striking the rib side and from the back. So my arm crosses over the spine and striking my back. Roughly about an inch or so below my shoulder blade. Good morning, everybody. So if you're just joining, go ahead and hit the screen. Stand up, move along. We're going through 5 different exercises, each one having some relationship to a different organ system. And right now, we're just starting off with a gentle twisting of the waist, up the torso, striking our body, stimulating our spleen channels and the digestive organs. As they're not the only necessary organ, of course, but in terms of what we call as developing and building our post-heaven qi, so our qi and our energy that we need throughout the day. Obviously, the food and drink that we take play a very large role in producing that. Right? So if your digestion is not working well, if you're not able to process your foods effectively and efficiently, then we'll be struggling throughout the day with many problems. Right, so for example, it doesn't matter how many organic foods you buy, it doesn't matter what quality of meat you buy. If you eat meat, it doesn't matter any of that, right? If we're not able to process and utilize things effectively, then the things that we put inside aren't going to be able to be of much benefit. So we need to have everything working optimally. All right, and so this movement, if done daily, and potentially can help improve your digestion. Okay, so the next one, now that we're, I think, kind of a bit warmed up, next one is a little bit more invigorating. So from the 5 elements generating, so earth is going to generate metal, and the element metal is associated to the lungs. Okay, and so for the lungs, you know what? How about this? All right, we're going to change the exercises a little bit. We're going to do one exercise from Wu Qin Xi for each animal. All right. So this one's not from the Wu Qin Xi. But let's go ahead. So the next one, So the element metal, so the next one is for the lungs. So let's go ahead and do the second movement from the Wu Qing Xi. So just follow along. Bring your leg up, arms up, and then bring your foot down. Do it a second time. Deep breath in, and back down. And then switch sides, up, down. Deep breath in, and down. All right, so we're going to just repeat this several times. All right, switching sides, inhale, exhale. Deep breath in and out. Right, so this is for the metal element in the Wu Qing Xi. This is the crane. Right, so helping to lift the ribs as we inhale. Exhale. Inhale as you come up. Exhale coming down. And so for those of you that did learn the Wu Qing Xi, you can always practice each animal on its own, just kind of as we're doing here in repetition, instead of just doing the whole routine with each animal, just doing once or twice. All right, but it's nice and slow, lifting up and down. So the Wu Qing Qi is basically what we call the 5 animal frolics. And each animal has 2 different movements. And each movement in each animal is corresponded to a different element, a different organ system. So as you move through the routine, we're stimulating and promoting the function of each different system, as well as channels, opening channels through our body. Let's see, if you do this movement as we're doing now, just in repetition, one after another, definitely has a bit of a different dynamic to it. Right, so everything can always be practiced in different ways. Let's say in a slightly more invigorating, slightly faster way. Let's say maybe focusing more on our musculoskeletal system and just going through the movement. We can always practice things slower with a little bit more internal intent. Right? So today is Tuesday, actually, and so at the half hour, we're going to be doing Chen Taiji. So right now, we just really want to wake up the body, open the joints. All right. Okay. So that was the second posture of the crane to help promote the metal element, which is our lungs. Going forward in the generating cycle, metal produces water, and the water element is connected to our kidney. So let's do the second part of the deer. So the second part of the deer, we're going to just step out and shift back. And then forward. Right? So if you want to learn all the elements, you want to learn all the animals, I have the full class recordings available if you check the link in the bio, you can see the list of courses that we have now completed, and they're available for a one-time purchase where we go through all of the different animal movements for the Wu Qin Shi, which is basically about 16 or 17 or so videos, each about 40 minutes long. All right, and so here, this is the second position for the deer. With emphasis on stretching the spine, rounding the back. The first one has a good massaging of the lumbar region and of the kidneys left and right, but slightly more complicated to explain, so we're just moving with the second one today as a warm-up. So sitting back onto your quad, rounding your spine, tucking your tailbone, and back. But in the videos, we go through these nice and slowly, step by step, each one. All right, and then just a few more. All right. Okay, and that was the second position for the deer. Now water generates wood. Wood's element is related to our liver. And in the 5 animal frolics, the liver of the animal is the tiger. So we'll do the first position of the tiger, using your tiger claws and gripping into the ground, forming 2 fists. This one's a little bit more easy. We're just going to make a big stretch up. Forming 2 fists, gripping into the ceiling, and then coming down. So digging your claws deep into the ground, forming 2 fists, and then lifting up. Digging your fingers into the ceiling, gripping, and coming down. All right, so this first position is fairly simple, but really gripping, activating all the tendons and ligaments and connective tissues through your hands and fingers as we come up, and then with a really big stretch up, and then once again digging your nails into the ceiling and forming a fist and coming down. Yeah, and so we're just going to repeat this a few more times. right, 3 more. So really, if you're activating your fingers, the joints, the ligaments really deep into the ground, pulling, right, and pressing, digging your nails, bending those fingers like claws as you reach up and pull down. I mean, you should be feeling through your fingers, through your forearm, if you're really engaging your fingers in such a way. It's because the liver governs the sinews. So this is why the tiger claws, and not only the sinews, of course, through the fingers and hands, but through the whole body. But the hands are just obviously a more tangible and accessible for us to control and to feel and to see. But as we practice, we can integrate and bring those sensations through the whole body and feel it as we stretch and pull. All right, so from here, let's wrap up the tiger. And then wood, moving forward, generates fire. And then fire, animal is the monkey. All right. And so for this one, we'll do the first one. The first position of the monkey. So we bring our hands up close to our chest, raise up onto our toes, and we turn our head to the side. And then we bring it back forward, and then we sink back down. So once again, onto the toes, squeezing the elbows tight to the rib side, looking to the side, and back down. All right, so this movement here, we want to bring the hands in and really bringing in the shoulders, the elbows, so we're compacting, squeezing the chest. As we raise up onto the toes, so everything is coming up, compacting here. And then as we exhale and release, things open up, the blood flows. So we repeat on the other side. And down. All right, just once more on each side. All right, deep breath in. All right, exhale. All right, very good. All right, so it's just about 5:30. So, all right, so we'll hold on just a moment. You can get some water if you like. All right, and so today we're going to review our Chen Taiji section 1, and we're going to do some fundamentals. Interesting. Let's see. Any comments about any roaches in my garage today, or mice? No. Usually there's at least one. All right, well, anyway, thanks everybody for everyone who's joined me from what you drinking. Black tea. So usually in the morning, especially in the winter, drink a black tea. So my tea is like a Chinese tea, but if you were to just buy something like Earl Grey tea or something like that, is also nice. So like in Chinese, they say the Hong Cha. Hong Cha is the black tea. The Hong Cha Yang Wei. Yang Wei just means to nourish the spleen and the stomach. Yeah, Earl Grey is nice too. If we don't have any Chinese tea, then we will drink Earl Grey or something similar. But yeah, so I've mentioned this before. Thanks, Tracy. Thanks for sharing, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm glad you come. Brand new. Yeah. Oh, I have another Shannon. Yeah, hi Shannon. Let's see, what was I going to say? Yeah, but I just want to, very important information I think that people don't realize, and I've talked about it quite often, but we're not going to talk about it today. We're going to do Taiji, but is I guess drinking green tea, like I've said it before, so those who watch, for a couple months already, but if you're new and you like drinking green tea, that's great. Green tea is a very nice tea to drink, but you should do so with moderation, and you should also do so at the appropriate time. Because actually, we drink tea, I should say, the Chinese drink tea in seasonal, right? So in the winter, you don't really see too many people drinking green tea, or also another popular tea is, they call it Tie Guanyin, or the Iron Buddha tea. These kind of teas are very green, and they're very bitter, and they're very cooling, and so they can actually reduce our digestional fire, right? So our digestion needs to be warm in order to help process foods. But if our digestion is cooled down, whether it's thermally with, say, ice water and ice beverages and cold foods all the time, or whether it's from what's the word? But through the properties of foods that have cooling properties to them. So for example, green tea is one of those foods or drinks. So it's not, even if you're drinking it hot, of course that makes it slightly better, but however, it's very bitter. The tea is very bitter, and so that bitterness is going to clear out and drain out heat from your body. Now, if you have pathological heat, like you do have a internal heat, a stomach heat, or some kind of fire, you have high blood pressure, you have constipation, you have like some sort of ravenous appetite, and you run hot all the time. Now in that case, green tea might be suitable for you. But if you're not that person, and you tend to be cold all the time, your hands and feet are cold, you have looser bowel movements, you have a poor appetite, bloating, and all these types of things, then green tea is definitely not suitable for you. And so you should, if you want to drink a tea, you should probably drink a black tea. So black tea, like one that you can buy from the supermarket, is typically like an Earl Grey tea. Otherwise, if you're buying loose leaf Chinese tea, there's thousands of different types of teas that you can buy. To be honest, I don't even know what type of tea this one is, because it's a tea that my mother-in-law had brought over, and we have like this huge 5-pound bag of it. So it's just there, and every morning you just reach your hand in and then throw it into the cup. All right, anyway, so that's my little spiel on that today. So please, if wherever you are, in the United States or Europe or Northern Hemisphere, no green tea today. All right, no matcha, no Japanese green tea. Doesn't matter. It's all going to damage your digestion. You should drink warming black tea. And then in the summertime, when it's a little bit more appropriate, yeah, we can drink green tea in the summer. Or if you just in general have a stronger constitution and these things don't seem to bother you, your digestion is strong, you can drink it. However, over a long period of time, it could potentially do damage. So, all right, let's get this going. All right, so today, I believe, is going to be one of the last classes of the year for Section 1 Tai Chi. So first thing we're going to do is just go through as a review. And then second thing we're going to do is we're going to review some fundamentals. So this is not, basically I'm just going to give out some directions on which way you should shift your weight. I can flip this on TikTok, and I still don't know if this is just flipping it for me or if it actually flips it for everybody. Maybe somebody can tell me. So look, I'm going to turn mirroring off. Did that change anything? Or does it only change it for me? Yeah, Shannon, Tiffany. Does it flip the screen for the viewer? Okay, cool. All right, good. So then, oh, sorry, we got, I see you coming in here. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. All right, so then perfect. So as always, I'm going to be mirroring the movements. And so you can follow along to the commands. All right, so we just go through this very casually, kind of briefly, just as a quick review. So this is section 1 of the Chen Taiji Yilu, or the first road. And in total, there's 6 sections. Okay, so ready? So with your feet together, hands at your side, and we'll begin. Bend your knees, sinking down. Empty out the weight in your left leg. And we're going to step out to the side, about shoulder width apart. Okay, sorry. Let's let this guy in. And then I need to change that. All right. Okay. All right, real quick. Let's start over again. All right, feet together, hands at your side. We're going to step out to the side. Okay, and then from here, we're going to raise our arms up till they're parallel to the ground. Open your shoulder blades, and then we're going to press downwards. So now you're going to shift your weight to the right as your hands lift up to your left. Palms turn, shift your weight to the left, press to the right, and then back once again. Now we're going to lift up as if you're holding a ball. Rotate, palms facing out. We're going to shift our weight to the left as we open up the right leg. Shifting to the right, pressing to the right as we drag in the left leg. Connecting elbow to knee, sinking down, stepping out. Pulling back, pressing down, opening the left side, shift your weight into the left leg, striking out, pulling in the right leg, stepping forward, drilling your right fingertips up, forming a fist, pulling down, left hand comes up, right fist drills up as we come down into Jinggang Dao Dui. Shifting into the right side, fist drills up to the left, shift your weight to the left, pulling across, dragging down, shift your weight back to the right. Open your right hand, pressing down, lifting up, and then back to the left. Right hand strikes out as we shift our weight to the right. Left hand drags down. Left hand lifting up, right hand pressing down as we shift our weight back to the left. Right side lifts up, sinking down, stepping out. Shifting our weight to the right. Right hand strikes out, left hand comes down to the abdomen. This is called Lanzai. Connecting, rolling over, lifting up, shift to the left as we press out to the right. Shifting back to the right as we lift up. Opening, lifting, pulling apart, lifting up, gathering at your chest as we bring the left leg in. This is called a Liu Feng Sibi. Next, we pull apart, pressing down. Left hand comes in front, right hand next to the left elbow. Right hand forms a hook as we pull out and turn to the left. Connecting, sinking in or down, stepping out, shifting our weight to the left, raising our left hand, and then opening up into Danbian, single whip. And then to finish, we press down, lifting up, shift our weight to the left as the hands pull back and follow, pressing down, shift to the left. I'm pressing to the left. Up, so shifting to the right, down. Now the second time, we open up this left leg, shift your weight into the left leg, opening out, flipping out your arms. Right foot, toe touching down, forming a fist. And then we finish with Jinggang Dao Dui. Right? Okay, so that's section 1. So if you're just joining and you would like to learn, we have all the recorded videos showing you step by step. And then it's available if you just check out the link in the bio, and then you can see the option there. We have all section 1. Also, I don't remember the number of videos that it contains, but you'll see everything from the very beginning all the way up until this point. Even today's video will be in there as well. All right, so let's review some of the silk hand drill. So the other day we had done, reviewed our weight shift, and I tried to give some demonstration reviewing how to bring the weight back and around, and that how the lower legs remain stable. And then we did the first circle hands, or the silk reeling, which when we put both hands together, we call it the cloud hands. So let's do a second circle hands. So the first one is where the hands coming up from the middle and then moving out to the sides. This is what we did during the last class. And now today we're going to change direction. All right. So then just with a quick review of the weight shift first, and then we'll look at the hand, and then we'll combine both of them. So with your feet in a wide stance, and so ideally we can say for Chen Taiji, about 2.5 foot widths should be fine for this style of Taiji that we're practicing. So 1, rotate 180 degrees, and then 2. So we don't need a really wide stance. We want things kind of compacted and tight. So with your hands on your hips, so we can bend our knees and squat down. So we'll first shift our weight, say onto your right side. Now when you're sitting down, so this is as if you're sitting into like a stool on this side. So make sure that your hips aren't sticking out, but rather that you're sitting down and bringing your butt down towards your heel. Your knee, of course, is bent, but as you sit down, that our knee does not press forward, but that we sit down and back. All right, so that's very important. And then as we sit down and back, this knee is bent, so is the other knee, but we can see that we have different angles as the femur comes out from our pelvis. This one has a sharper angle, this one is a little bit more straight. But so now as we shift our weight, we bring our tailbone back and over to the left side, so that the only thing that we notice really is the direction in which our thighs are pointing, right? So otherwise, as we shift back, we don't see terribly too much movement in the knees and the lower legs, as opposed to if we're just shifting left and right. Right, you can see plenty of movement here. But as we pivot and shift through the inguinal region, through our quad, right, the movement reduces. So we have a lot more stability, a lot more strength and control with our legs, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so let's go into the hand movement. So let's start with your right hand. Now here, I guess we can start with your hand at chest height. So your palm is open, fingers gently extended out. We don't want our fingers to be close together, but we don't want them to be extremely spread too far apart. And so we have the tiger mouth is open, so between the thumb and the index finger. And remember our requirements is that when our hand comes to the center line, we don't cross the center line, but we stop at the center line. Our hand, when it extends out to the side, doesn't go beyond your foot. So hand-foot connection, elbow-knee connection, shoulder-hip connection. Right? So when our hand is here, elbow and knee, keeping this connection in mind so that we don't collapse the structure. All right, so here just only moving the arm. So this one from here, when we come down, we're going to actually kind of like slice and cut outwards. So first step will be dropping down and cutting out, palm facing down and stopping over your foot. So now from here, we're going to drilling upwards with your fingertips, palm facing out. Then we're going to rotate so your palm faces in, and then with an arc, bringing the hand back to our starting position. So we can drop it down a little bit towards the center, then cutting out, drilling up, rotate your palm, right, and then coming back in. So we can look at that as 4 parts. So 1, dropping down, 2, cutting out. So this one, make sure that there's a downwards action as well as this curving outwards action. So it's not just straight across, right, and it's not down, so combining both together. This one drilling up, rotate, and then cutting in. Right, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so let's do that briefly on the other side, and then we'll incorporate the weight shift together with the hand movement. So 1, remember elbows out, so always keeping some space between under your armpit. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so let's move back onto the right side, and let's incorporate our weight shift together with that movement. So let's start with your weight sunken down onto the right side and our hand at the center. And you can use your left hand, just use your index finger and your thumb, place it on your waist, and make sure tuck in your other fingers so that way we can keep our wrist nice and straight. If you open your fingers, you have a tendency to do this, and then it's going to make your wrist a little uncomfortable. So just make your index finger and thumb and place it here on your hip. All right, and so with our knees bent, sinking down, we have our hand starting up just in front of our middle finger, lined up about with your nose. So first we can bring the hand down slightly. Now as we cut out, we're going to shift our weight to the left as the hand cuts out to the right. And we're going to drill, fingertips coming up. Rotate, palm facing center. As we press our weight into our left heel, as we shift our weight, then we bring the hand back over to the center. So first we have 1, dropping down to the center of the chest, pressing into the right heel, shifting back with that backwards U shape as the hand cuts out. Drilling up, rotate in, and then shift. Dropping down, pressing into your right heel, shift your weight, cutting out. Right, so up and shift. Dropping down and shift. Right, and once you become more familiar, we can gently flow the movements together a little bit more seamlessly, but still not trying to go too fast. The idea still is control, connectivity, and also feeling expansiveness as we stretch outwards, drilling up and back in. So when you practice Taiji, every day is a leg day. So if you want to work on your legs, your thighs, your glutes, yes, just do this exercise nice and slow, 10, 20 minutes a day. Yeah, I can guarantee you, you'll have good legs and nice glutes, right? And strong back as well. Okay, so let's go up and then back over. And then let's switch to the other side. All right, so we're going to start with our weight on the left side. Left hand, middle finger, about with your nose. So drop down slightly, shift your weight to the left as we cut out to the right. Shift your weight to the right as we cut out to the left. Then drilling up, shift, coming down, shift, drilling up, shift, dropping down, shift, right? So fingers drilling up, shifting your weight, gentle arc coming across, dropping down, shift your weight as you press out, making sure knees stay bent. You can keep your posture slightly higher if you need to, but it still doesn't change any of the other requirements. Right, so beware of the way you're shifting your weight so that we're not just moving on a horizontal line and shifting across, but that we are digging in and shifting over to the other side. Right up and over, down and out. All right, so go ahead and take a deep breath in. All right, so now let's move forward and we're just going to try to combine them both. All right. Yeah, so you can move your, shake your legs out if they're getting a little bit tired. All right. So then from here, let's see, we can start with your weight on your right side, bringing your right hand up, middle finger about nose level. And then your left hand's going to start out over your left foot. So as long as your elbows are out and bent, we can have this nice, attentive, posture that has good structure. Knees bent, sitting down in the kwa, chin slightly tucked. So, all of the requirements, and details that we go through yesterday during standing practice. As you can see, only thing that changes, like if we're in our, like a zanzhuang posture, obviously it's a little bit wider. We still have the same requirements, knees bent, quads sunk, chest relaxed, chin is back, so the spine is nice and straight. And so we have one practice where we're in this posture. And so now, I just slightly change, shifting my weight into the right side, bringing my right hand up, and my left hand comes down. Excuse me. But otherwise, you see how the elbows are also still out, going back into our zanzhuang. Look, if I switch to the other side. So the idea, just to illustrate, is how starting from this posture and building that muscle memory, understanding this kind of mechanics through your hips, keeping your elbows not floating up, but sunken, heavy. From here, developing that repetition and muscle memory, right? It's going to carry over into learning, different postures through Taiji as well as through Qigong practice. So it's important that we do this daily to help reinforce that. Okay. But so now for this practice, getting back to this position. So weight on your right side, right hand up, middle finger aligned with your nose, left hand out over the left foot. So we're going to start by drilling up. Now, so the only difference with this one compared to the cloud hands is that your right hand here is only going to drop down about halfway, but this hand needs to come all the way up. So now from here, you can rotate your left hand. Now as you shift your weight to the left, the right hand cuts out and the left hand comes in. So once again, your right hand's going to drill all the way up, left hand just going to drop down about halfway. Rotate your right hand, palm facing in. Now as we shift our weight, we cut out with the left hand and bringing the right hand back to the center. So 1, rotate, and then 2. And then 1, 2. All right, and we can, let's see, it's nice and slow. So 1, 2. So 1, drilling up, shift your weight, 2. Once again, we can also, once we feel comfortable, blend these movements in a little more seamlessly. Sorry, I gotta... Right, so it's important that we go through and practice these movements as individual standalone practice. Because just learning the routine, you move from one movement to the next without spending time to really explore the connectivity in terms of shifting your weight, the way your upper body moves with your lower body. And so by doing just one posture and repetition, so we can become very familiar with the movements. And if we're able to understand these well, then when you start to go through the form and the routine, it will come a lot easier. All right, just one more. All right, take a deep breath in. All right, so this is some of the fundamental for the Chen Taiji routine. And so if you want to get back, we access all the videos and have all the recordings step by step. You can check the link in the bio, and there you can have access to all the classes and all of our recordings. But I would prefer you to come join us for our live classes so we can get a little more detail with each other. And yeah, hopefully we can, yeah. Okay, so anyway, guys on Zoom, hold on for a second so we can just say hi. And everybody have a nice day. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to review our Qigong class.